Hello everybody, Mannix here. It is time for yet another tabletop knife review for you right here, right now. If you'd like what you see, if you want to see any more knife reviews, locking mechanism videos, flashlight reviews, EDC videos, etc., feel free to subscribe and click that little bell notification so you don't miss any new weekly videos. This is going to be on the CRKT Piet. How do you say it? The Piet. Very neat, quaint, cute, pretty little pocket knife. Makes you think of a gentleman's folder or a lady's folder. Probably a little bit better suited as a lady's folder just because it's on the smaller side. I would qualify it as a medium smaller size folder. Let's get the specs out of the way real quick. Blade length of 2.69 inches. The handle length is 3.76 inches. The overall length coming in at 6.44 inches, weighing 2.5 ounces. We have a GRN handle scale right here, flush-mounted stainless steel liners. It is a liner lock, as you can see right there. We have what I'm assuming is an aluminum back spacer, which is anodized blue. Very cool. Tip up carry only. It is a loop-over style clip. It is swappable to the left side. Thumb hole, which is rounded in there. 8 CR13 MOV blade steel. Looks like a satin finish. I'm assuming this is a flat grind, but I don't really know. It kind of feels like a flat grind, but I'm not really sure. Pretty sure it's flat. Let's just call it a flat grind, but I could be wrong. Now, what I usually like to do in my videos is use my own scale to weigh the knife. Because sometimes the weight from the website, even the official website, is wrong. 2.43 ounces. Okay, they just rounded it up, probably, but sub 3 ounce knife, and you get a 2.69 inch blade. So if you're trying to watch your weight, so to speak, with your equipment, this is actually pretty decent. It could have been lighter. I mean, there are steel liners in there. They're pretty thin, though. But they're in there. They could have made this lighter, but they didn't. Not a big deal, though. It is featherweight for what it is. I have a lot to say about this knife, and I don't have a lot to say about this knife. I'm kind of torn on it. I like it. It's not a knife I would normally get. It just kind of piqued my interest because it was pretty widely available at the time. These retail for $40. You can get these for around the $35 range from what I've seen, but I got this one for like $33 at a Big R store by my house. Yeah, that was the best price I saw it too. I looked all around on eBay, Amazon, all the typical cheap websites, and this was actually a better price. I was like, yeah, why not? I kind of wanted to try it out, and I got it, and I kind of liked it, but it's just not very exciting to me. It's functional. It pretty much functions and feels just as good as it looks. You can take one look at this knife and be like, oh, is that any good? Yeah, you know, it's good for what it is. It's good for like the $35 range or so, but there is competition out there. There's better knives, I feel like, for that price. If this were like in the high 20s, $27 or so, heck yeah. Awesome knife. But for $35, I mean, there's kind of just too much competition out there. It's just kind of a boring, not very exciting knife to me. It's somewhat classy. I really love this backspacer right here. I like the overall shape of it. It's very simple, very elegant, kind of quaint looking. Friendly looking too, very rounded edges. I like it. I like this texturing on the GRN, or glass filled nylon, whatever we're going to call it. Glass and plastic mixed together. I like this texturing, you know, it's grippy, but not too grippy. No jimps or anything anywhere. It's comfortable. Again, kind of a medium, smaller size knife. You can see my hand just barely extends past the handle, but it's not like my pinky wants to grip onto something either. There's just enough to grip onto here. I usually don't like to carry knives too much smaller than this if I'm going for a smaller EDC blade. So again, comfortable, no jimping or anything, not too much texturing, but it's not like a metal handle or anything. It's not super slick. Liner lock locks up just fine. There's no up and down, no side to side. That's very obvious. It has a decent lockup like you'd expect for this price range, for this style knife, so no surprises there. I like the lanyard hole right there, oval, exposing through the backspacer right there. I love this blue anodized aluminum backspacer, if that's aluminum. Pretty sure it is. It's kind of difficult to tell. Feels kind of like metal, but sometimes it can, FRN and GFN, whatever you want to call it, can be kind of deceiving. Probably aluminum though, because you can anodize it easily. That's really cool. I love this pocket clip. Very simple, works very well. Bit on the looser side, but it's not too loose either. It's just fine. Loop over. You can swap it, but it is a liner lock, so if you do put this on the left side, it'll be a little bit tricky-ish to disengage it. Not the end of the world, just do that, but again, liner locks are kind of more righty-friendly, but not a big deal. I'm going to call it a somewhat ambidextrous folder. Deploying it's ambidextrous, carrying it is ambidextrous, the liner lock is not ambidextrous. So it's not like super comfortable, It's not uncomfortable. It's nice looking, but it's not like gorgeous either. You know, I've seen some knives that are just like sweet, just sexy. If this were a woman, I'd give it like, you know, like a 7 out of 10, maybe 7.5 on a good day. It doesn't really excite or wow me though. I love the blade though. I'm gonna call this a spear point. Some people may consider this a drop point. No, I'll call it a spear point. I like the shape of it. I like the choil we have right there. You can't really like put your, I mean, you can, yeah, don't even bother trying to put your finger there. But we have a very distinct area from the blade to the cutting edge, which maybe is to help get around legalities or something. I don't really know, but it gives you some extra reach without giving you extra edge. See that as an upside or not. The cutout in the thumb hole right here, it's almost like a teardrop shape. Almost. I don't know what else you'd call that, but candy corn shape? I don't know. It's rounded within the edges right there. It's not a straight up 90-degree angle like you would see on like the spider holes. It's rounded, so it's a little bit more comfortable to open up. But I honestly just prefer the straight 90-degree angle, the sharper edge. It just catches your thumb better. But this is okay. Again, for this style knife, for not trying to be a tactical folder or anything, just trying to be an elegant little EDC knife, it's just fine. You can flick it out, but it will take a little bit of practice. It kind of messed up there. You gotta really dig the tip of your thumb in at the very tip of it, because as you can see, the hole widens as it reaches the ricasso or the tang. There's just something a little bit different, I suppose. Matches up, is exposed perfectly with the cutout in the handle right there, which you can see is also nice and friendly rounded. Again, perfect exposure, nice little attention to detail, nice little fit and finish right there. I like that, but it's still somewhat tricky to get to. You have to intentionally dig the tip of your thumb in there. I'm just kind of not really paying attention. It would be a little bit trickier to open it up. Again, not really a big deal. I'm kind of nitpicking, but flicks out just fine. Not easy to deploy, but not difficult either. Again, that's another thing. It's the theme of this knife to me is just very average, middle of the road. It's not expensive, but it's not cheap. Again, you can get nicer knives for 35 bucks. Again, this is like 27 bucks. Yeah, it's cool if you like the way it looks. You'll be just fine with it, but for this price, 35, I don't know. I don't know why it's that price on the aftermarket right now. Again, it only retails at 40. So you'd think it would be like almost half that, like 25-ish, but like, I don't know. Probably a stonewash finish on the pocket clip right there. I like it. You know, it carries just fine. Extracts out of the pocket just fine. Deploys okay. Has a good lockup. It feels kind of cheap to me, even for this price range. The liner lock on here just feels like a really, really cheap, thin, flimsy liner. Some liner locks are really solid. It's a thick liner, the material, the way that it's heat treated, the geometry. I don't know exactly what they do, but some knives, they just feel like high quality liner locks. This one does not. It feels cheap to me. Not a big deal. It is functional. It doesn't feel like a nice liner lock. Thin little stop pin right there. Very simple. I really don't know what else there is to say about this thing. I got it because it screamed elegance to me just by looking at pictures of it. I didn't really watch any reviews. I probably should have in hindsight, because I don't love this purchase. It wasn't expensive, but again, it wasn't cheap either. 30 bucks is still 30 bucks. 32, 33, give or take. But this knife feels like it should be something a little bit higher end and a little bit, I don't know if I should say quality, but it would be nice if they touched this up. Like if they gave this a rounded spine, if they put the IKBS ball bearing system on here, and maybe they returned the theory of the blue anodized, the color right here, to somewhere else, maybe on the hardware somewhere, instead of just a random blue backspacer and no blue anywhere else. It just kind of looks out of place to me. I like it. It's a nice little touch, nice little jimping, I guess, on the backspacer, which is completely useless, but if it's just there and nowhere else, it's kind of random. Again, if it were blue here, then maybe like blue right there on the pivot screw or something, that would be kind of cool. Or on the liner, that would be cool. But no, it's just black satin and then just a random blue backspacer back here. Nice shape. Again, it's friendly, it's comfortable, it's fine. It works okay. It's just kind of yawn. Nothing else to really say about it. Again, a rounded spine, and then if it had the IKBS, if maybe they changed the colors just a little bit, made it feel a little bit higher quality, even if that means giving it some extra weight, I would have kind of liked it, because it's not really a hard-use tool knife. It's not really like a hard-use EDC knife, because a hard use to me means more jimping, more to grip onto, less of a friendly shape, more of an ergonomic shape. This is more friendly and kind of pull it out at a wedding to cut. I don't know what you would be cutting at a wedding, but you have to cut anything if you're at a wedding or some classy event of sorts. This is the knife you'd want in your pocket. That's what it is trying to be, but it's not quite there. It's not elegant enough. It's kind of like a not great utility knife, but it's okay. It's kind of classy, but it's not that classy. It's somewhere in an awkward position in the middle. I thought it was going to be more classy and a little bit higher end feeling for the money. Again, I thought it had around its... I don't know why I thought it had the IKBS, because CRKT's been putting that on a lot of their knives, which I love. Every knife should have that ball bearing system, but for whatever reason, they did not put it on this. Probably just trying to keep it a little bit cheaper, which would be nice, but again, it's not that cheap. Again, mid-30s. You could do better. Let's compare it to a knife you can also get for about 36 bucks, maybe like $1 more, give or take. Bird Caracara. Same materials. They both have 8CR13 satin finished blades. They both have GRN or FRN, whatever you want to call the handle scales. They both have steel liners. They happen to be skeletonized on the bird. That's another process you have to put in. Bird happens to be a lockback, not a liner lock. That's an advantage or a disadvantage, depending on how you look at it. 4 spots to put the pod clip in, only 2 on here, not a big deal, but this is going to be more ambidextrous. Pretty much the same exact materials, but you get more of it on the bird for maybe like $1 more, $2 more, maybe less, depending on where you buy it. This is just so much more useful for me. You could argue it doesn't look as good or this and that, the other thing. Yeah, you're probably right, depending on your perspective, but as a utility knife, this is way better. I like having all that extra edge. I have a lot of reach, so you can use it as a tactical blade if you needed to. You could argue it's a little uglier looking. I happen to like the way it looks, but it's not like a good looking knife either. The Piet's a little nicer looking, sure. This one is not really meant to be a good looking blade. It's a user. It went full force with what it was trying to be. It's a folding utility user blade that can act as a tactical blade. It's fast, it's strong enough, carries very well, lot to grip onto, lot of texturing here. Like, it knows what it is. It knows what it's trying to be. And guess what? 36 bucks. This is also about like 36, maybe 34, 35. But it's kind of stubby and short, less grippy. Still useful. I like the way it looks. It's kind of classy and kind of elegant, but it's not really that elegant. Deploying it is not great, just like you saw right there. You got to give it some extra force and extra attention. It's okay. I just don't see why you would want to buy this knife compared to all the other competition you have, even from the same company, CRKT. I like the design. I think it's friendly looking, but again, CRKT, if you're watching this, do like a re-release of the Piet, maybe. That would be cool. Again, put the IKBS on there around the spine out. Just make it more classy, more elegant. Maybe give it, like, aluminum handles. No, I normally don't like metal handles, but for what this knife would be trying to be, I think, as a more elegant folder, why not? You might as well. Or a titanium handle. Yeah, you'll jump the price up a bit, but who cares? If you're buying the knife because you want it to look classy and elegant, usually people don't mind paying a little bit of extra money anyway. This is kind of in an odd position right now. It's not a bad knife, it's just I don't see why you would want this one in its current position for its price. It's just slightly expensive, and you don't really get a whole lot of extra class or utility in comparison to what we have competing with it right now in mid-2022. I still carry it, I still use it, it's just I have other knives I like a little bit more than it, but it is what it is. There you go. CRKT Piet.